This is Very Bold Radio and Podcast with your host, Steve Teel, bringing encouragement through God's Word and through inspiring interviews. Go to verybold.com for information and updates, and email steve@verybold.com. And now here's your host, Steve Teel.
Steve Teel, Very Bold Radio and Podcast, here with David Roper. Man, we're going to have a great episode today. We're going to be talking about marriage. We're going to be talking about your masterclass. We're going to be talking about some of the videos that you've been putting up on social media, because I think they're going to be real insightful for people. We're going to talk about, I can't wait to hear how men's brains are like country roads. Did you coin that, or did you hear that and run with it?
I was just kind of trying to figure out a good explanation for it. And I just gotten off of one of those, mixed master deals. And I'm like, dude, that is not like the way our brains work. That's how a woman's brain is kind of wired. Okay. But not us. Okay. Not us. We're more like, we're like those farm to market country roads. Steve.
All right. I can't wait to hear about it, David. Okay. We're also going to talk about, even down the hallway here at KSLR AM 630, The Word, got a big poster of Jeff Allen. He's a good comedian, and his tagline throughout his long career is "Happy Wife, Happy Life." Huh. Yeah.
Interesting.
Have you heard him do his bit? Oh, no. His whole bit is "Happy wife, happy life."
Really?
Yeah. He's very grumbly and curmudgeonly.
Okay.
And, So, but you are going to
I'm going to debunk that.
You're going to debunk that.
I'm going to tell you that's a terrible idea.
Jeff Allen, your career has messed up so many marriages, even though they were laughing. So, and a big one I want to talk about is stop putting your kids first. But just for our radio listeners and podcast listeners, I also want you to know my wife and I have been improving on our marriage for the next 35 years of our life. Just last year, just really looking at it. And David has at davidroper.net, a marriage masterclass. I feel like this is a ridiculous bargain. Yeah. $29 a month. I'm going to say it again, $29 a month for a marriage masterclass. These are videos. He'll tell us about it later. Videos and homework and interaction for couples. And we're even going to talk about if you do that, but you get stuck, what you're going to do about it. And so many other things. I mean, and this is crazy because I still do some weddings, a couple weddings every once in a while. But, people are sometimes coming to me and saying, do you have a premarital thing? Yep. And what I notice is you have a pre-marriage course for $60. Yeah. And then you get $60 off your marriage license. Yeah. I don't understand that. Yeah. But that's okay.
Yeah. Essentially, they get all the knowledge for free.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you get $60 off your marriage license?
So I'm certified through Together in Texas here in the state of Texas. Yeah. And they've got a program designed to try to encourage couples, Steve, to go through pre-marriage counseling. And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I do too.
I want couples more than anything who are beginning their relationship together to get the knowledge, the tools, the understandings so that they can have a better relationship. Yeah. It makes no sense to me at all. No sense to me at all. Why the most important relationship in your entire life, more important than your relationship with your boss, with your coworkers, et cetera, that you wouldn't want to invest some time, effort, and at least $60 towards improving. Because truly, our marriage can bring us the most joy, or the most pain. Yeah, and I want to be proactive. And help those couples ahead of time pave the way for good communication, good relationship, good financial, management, good sex life, good emotionally intimate life, rather than wait till they're like stage 4 cancer in their relationship. Right. That doesn't make any sense to me to wait. I mean, I do a lot of marriage counseling, and it's painful. Yeah. Sometimes when couples have waited until they've been down this path for 20 years, 30 years. Right. And there's a lot of bitterness and resentment. Right. Wow. Why not start out with your best foot forward? And why not make some course corrections over the course of time? I do marriage checkups with a lot of those pre-marriage couples after they've been married 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Because just like you take your teeth in to get a checkup, right? You take your car in to get a tune-up or an oil change, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you take your marriage in for a checkup once a year just to say, hey, are we doing okay? Or do we need to correct a few things? If so, boom, 1, 2, 3 sessions, let's get that taken care of.
Right.
Instead of going 10 years, 15 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
And just driving that thing into the dirt.
Right. All right. I want to ask you about these videos, but before I kind of want to jump around a little bit and just say, man, where does this passion for marriages and parenting, where does this come from?
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a family, lots of kids.
Okay. How many kids?
7 kids total.
What?
7 kids. I was the youngest.
You got the marksman's attention.
Yeah.
You turned.
Yeah.
7 You were
kids.
the youngest?
It's good to be the youngest. It's good to be the youngest.
Did they even notice you at that point?
A little bit.
He can do whatever he wants.
But you get away with more when you're the youngest, right? That's and they get worn down, right? By the time I came along, my parents were like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
Just don't get in big trouble.
Yeah.
But I really think, Steve, a lot of that passion came from my parents.
Okay.
From seeing their devotion, their dedication to raising us.
Yeah.
As great, Christian young men.
Yeah.
And women for my one sister. And their devotion to one another and to our family.
Yeah.
So I really think that had a lot to do with it. But also, as I kind of went through my career.
Yeah.
Both in psychology counseling realm, and for almost 20 years in the youth and family ministry world.
Yeah.
It was obvious to me, Steve, that if you're doing youth ministry, you're just kind of picking out the kid and trying to guide and help them. And what a better model is if you wrap your arm around the whole family and help the family succeed. If you're helping mom and dad be great at being a mom and a dad, great at being a husband and a wife, they're then going to help their kids succeed. And they're the ones who are with their kid far more than any youth pastor, any small group leader, any children's minister ever will be.
Right. Let me ask you something about that. This just makes me think and I know this isn't our main topic, but were parents receptive? Like sometimes you can get into mentality. You're dropping them off for soccer. You're taking them to gymnastics. And you're squeezing in youth group and you're dropping them off for Sunday morning. They go do their thing while I'm doing my thing. And there's kind of this distance or separation that can be built in. Were parents like open? Because you were creating a different model than the rest of us clowns were doing. I wish I'd picked up on it. But way to go, David Roper. So, were parents receptive to it? And how did you bridge that? That's amazing.
A fair portion of parents absolutely were.
Yeah.
I mean, they want to do a good job.
Yeah.
As parents.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
And so my motto was, the same as Home Depot. You can do it. We can help.
Yeah.
My role back when I was doing, youth and I added on the family ministry part.
Yeah. Did you get a raise for that, or did you just get the title?
I just doubled the work.
Yeah, you did at least.
not the raise. But that was my view.
Yeah.
Is you want this? You want to be a better parent. I know you do. And biblically, it says in Isaiah 6:8 that we're supposed to talk about God from the moment our kids wake up until the moment they go to bed.
Yeah.
As they walk along the path, et cetera, et cetera. So we're supposed to be the primary disciplers of our own kids. We're not supposed to hand it off to somebody else to do it for us.
Right. Yeah.
They're an adjunct part.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you have sort of a homeschool mentality to your children's spiritual and emotional development.
Yeah.
Is that it's my job as the primary discipler of my own children to raise them in such a way. And if I use the school, if I use the youth ministry, if I use the children's ministry as an adjunct benefit, great.
Right.
But it's not the whole thing.
Right.
well, I shouldn't pawn off that responsibility
Right.
on them completely,
Right.
and say, well, I don't have to worry about that because they're taking care of it. No, they're doing their best to help,
Right.
but that's not the whole enchilada.
Right. Yeah. Wow. That's really good. I'm real excited. Doesn't that make you excited to know more about his marriage masterclass and his help for marriage and other things? I was surprised. Like I knew we were going to talk mainly about your marriage ministry and your marriage masterclass, but you help 30 plus years experience, master's in clinical psychology from Penn State. That made me
Go
curious.
Nittany Lions.
How did that happen?
I got accepted.
That's funny.
It's really hard to get into clinical psych programs.
Okay.
And
All right.
so I applied to, variety of schools.
Yeah.
And Duke, Penn State, Colorado Boulder,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And Penn State and Colorado Boulder were by far my top two choices.
Oh, my gosh.
And I got into one
Yeah.
of them. I was kind of wanting to get into Boulder because I love to ski.
You love the Rocky Mountains. I saw that.
Love the Rocky Mountains.
I saw that.
Love the Rocky Mountains. But, that's okay. Second choice.
That's okay.
That's good. That's good.
That's not bad. Did you do that right out after Trinity, or did you go back later to Penn State? I don't remember.
So graduated, Trinity with a bachelor's in
Pretty
psychology.
smart guy. I feel
And
like we're sitting across here.
well,
Pretty smart guy.
Well, I don't know about that, but we'll see. But no, then I worked a couple of years
Okay.
at a children's home.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
a home parent,
Yeah.
essentially,
Right.
taking care of kids who'd been abused, abandoned, neglected, and kind of serving as big brother, uncle,
Yeah.
parent kind of role.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. To this day, it's probably my favorite
What?
job I've ever had.
Wow.
Living with those kids, getting to pour into them on a daily basis.
Wow.
The only problem was it paid about $14,000 a year.
That's kind of tough.
Pretty austere. Pretty austere.
Austere. Yeah. There you go.
And that was, a number of years ago, but even then, $14K
that ain't
was
going
pretty
very
low,
far. That ain't going very far even back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. But your favorite job?
Loved it.
Wow. That's crazy.
Because
Okay.
I love youth.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
teenagers. I love that span of life. I think they're fascinating. I think
Yeah.
they're funny. I
Yeah.
think they're typically striving to figure the world out.
Yeah.
And if you can connect with them, Steve, you
Yeah.
know this. You've done youth ministry for tons of years. If you
He just
connect
called me
with
old.
them,
I'm pretty sure. I get it. People, I mean, this Facebook camera is real close. The camera don't lie.
It's reality.
I always
It's
try
reality.
to back it up, but the marksman's like, no, it's funnier if it's really close on your face.
we
But,
call it
yeah.
wise.
Wise, yeah.
Being a veteran.
I wish I could say that, but anyway, yeah.
But they want to do well.
Right.
I think.
Right.
Most of them want to have a good life and good
Yeah.
experience. They just have to have someone they trust
Yeah.
to pour into them. And there's an old youth ministry axiom, which is probably a Chinese proverb or something somewhere that you're probably well aware of, which says
I know exactly what you're going to say. Go ahead and say it. I know what you're going to say.
people don't care how much you know
Yep.
until they know how much you care.
Yep.
Right? That's
I know
probably from Young
exactly what
Life
you're
or
going to say. Could be. Let's give them credit rather
Yeah.
than Chinese proverb. I love that too, though. That's great. Yeah, that's really good, David. Okay. So real quick, again, we're going to be talking about marriage, I promise. And we're going to talk about these videos, but I saw on your website, davidroper.net, you help people manage their anxiety, overcome depression. So some of the counseling that you're doing, and you told me off camera that, 20% you're still counseling youth.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. You also said take charge of your ADHD, which I just thought was very specific, you know? Yeah. So that's really cool. So somebody may be watching and make sure you reach out to David Roper at davidroper.net. All right, man, help me out with this amazing video title. Men's brains are like country roads. Talk us through this. How did this happen?
Absolutely. So, a lot of my marriage masterclass, Steve, is based on research by the guru himself, Dr. John Gottman.
Okay.
He's up in Seattle.
Okay.
He's probably 80 years old. I mean, he's been doing this a long time. He's at least in his 70s.
Yeah.
And he tried to scientifically break down relationships.
Okay.
And he did. He's been doing this since
this
about
is like sports analytics
70s.
and numbers only for relationships.
For relationships.
Yeah, okay.
So one of the key things
Yeah.
that Dr. John Gottman talks about is emotional flooding.
Okay.
Essentially,
emotional flooding. This is new to me. So,
yeah.
Okay.
So essentially, when I'm sure you and Chris never get in an argument, but when my wife and I get an argument, it doesn't take long before one or both of us get emotionally flooded.
Okay.
And what does that mean, or what does that feel like? You know what that feels like. You've actually had that plenty of times.
Sure.
It's when all of a sudden your heart starts beating faster.
Sure.
And you're getting irritated and start to get
up.
amped up, right?
Yeah.
When we start to get amped up, when we start to get emotionally flooded, the amygdala, the little back part of the base of the brain, right?
Science class, I love it.
The fight or flight part of your brain gets triggered.
Okay.
Right? And being the fight or flight, being the basic portion of your brain, it relates to survival.
Yeah.
So it essentially takes over the majority of your brain.
Yeah.
In other words, it says, I'm in charge now. This is critical, important stuff here. I'm going to keep you safe.
Yeah.
So we're going to either fight, be an argument,
right,
or fist fight or whatever, or flight, like I need to get out of this argument as fast as possible,
right,
or freeze, just I don't. I'm stumbling.
Right.
That's where the difference between men and women.
Okay.
And their kind of brain functioning coming. I won't get into all the science of it, but in a nutshell, women's brains are more, according to a lot of research, and Gottman talks about this in some of his books, is more adept at emotional processing.
Okay.
It kind of makes sense, right? I mean, historically, throughout eons of time, right? Women have been involved in taking care of the children. They've been back at the village, doing various chores and things, conversing with other women and the children, and taking care of all of those aspects for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Where men perhaps have been off hunting or out farming by themselves, and a lot of more isolated types of activities.
Yeah.
If you're hunting, in particular, sometimes you've got to suppress those emotions, right? Just suck it up and stay calm in a dangerous, scary situation.
Yeah.
So what does this all have to do with country roads?
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, Gottman says that women's brains are extremely adept at processing emotion very fast. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
So if they're upset about something, all those synapses are firing quickly.
Okay.
And they're able to have a discussion with you.
Okay.
And not get super emotionally flooded.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Whereas, here's what's coming next.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's have it.
Is you and I.
Yeah.
Most men are not as adept at that emotional processing. Now, there's obviously differences here and there.
Sure.
It's a generalization.
Right.
But in general, men's brains don't process emotional information as quickly, as adeptly as females. Mm-hmm. Therefore, they go into that freeze mode of fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
Or they go into that flight mode of I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Right? How many times have you heard a wife say, I'm talking to my husband and we're having this argument and we're talking, and I'm like, so what do you think about this? And he's like, I don't know. Or he says, I need to think about it.
Yeah.
Or he's like, I don't know. I can't think about this right now.
Right.
9 times out of 10, he's being honest.
Yeah.
He doesn't know. It's like a country road that she's just jammed 1 million cars down, trying to get her point across.
That's
and
great.
He's overloaded. It's a traffic jam.
Oh, man. Traffic
jams. And he needs time to process it.
Okay.
So the one tool that I can share with you right here, right now about that.
Wow.
Is unquestionably, Steve, when our amygdala is triggered, when we're getting emotionally flooded, the research is super clear. You have to take a break. It's that simple.
Wow.
Is we have to take a break. Why? Because if you keep going, you're just going to make things worse.
Yeah.
And some people will say, no, we really need to get this worked out.
Right.
No, you don't. Not at that moment.
Yeah.
Because you're not listening.
Right. Okay.
You're arguing.
Yeah.
And arguing by its definition means you need to listen to me.
Right.
And the other person's saying, no, you need to listen to me.
Right.
And what they really need to do is listen to each other.
Right.
You're not going to do that
if
you're emotionally flooded.
That's good.
So you got to take a break.
That's good.
Retreat to other parts of the house, go for a walk, do some dishes, walk the dog, do some laundry, watch TV, whatever. Get your mind off of the argument.
Yeah.
Don't go to your, don't retreat to your corner of the boxing ring and strategize how you're going to beat your spouse up worse verbally.
Right.
No. Get your mind off of it, calm down.
Yeah.
And I've got various tools and techniques to do there, but I won't get into that today. But and then this is kind of important. Ask, hey, is this a good time for us to talk?
So this would normally be the wife asking the husband, or it goes both
either
ways?
way.
Okay.
Either way.
All right.
In fact, I typically encourage the one who requested the break or the one who typically wants to get out.
Check out.
to ask.
Yeah.
Because in most relationships, there's a pursuer and an avoider. And so ideally, the avoider is typically the one who's saying, hey, I'm ready to talk if you are.
This is gold.
And then we can get back to going. Otherwise, the pursuer is like, I always have to, start it up again.
Right.
And he's always asking for a break.
Right.
So it kind of levels the playing field.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. All right. Can you tell us about, this might be, it shouldn't be controversial, but just like I said, conviction. Stop putting your kids first. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Steve, I'm kind of surprised, honestly, how many people I have to convince about this. To me, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Right.
Right?
Right, yeah.
To me, it's a no-brainer that when two become one in a marriage, right, when they have that wedding day and those two become one, they are saying, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And you're here for me. And we're going to support each other. We're going to love each other. We're going to respect each other, etc. I think it's natural when a child is born and they're helpless. I mean, human babies are, I believe I've heard, the most helpless creatures in the animal kingdom for the longest amount of time.
That makes sense, but that's interesting. I never thought about it.
They can't walk. They can't talk. They can't do much of anything. They can't feed themselves.
Right.
They're helpless for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I get it, especially why moms tend to put their children first.
Yeah.
And they tell the dads, suck it up, buttercup. You don't get my time and attention right now because look, we made this beautiful little child, and he or she is going to take all my time and attention now.
Yeah,
and there's no room for you.
Right,
you can help. Do this.
Yeah,
but you're just going to have to. Suck it up.
Yeah,
I get that. The problem is. That frequently couples don't reserve any time, attention, or energy for one another, and everything is focused on the child. All the attention, all the time, all the energy, all the effort. And the marriage dwindles. I mean, you can read the studies, you can look at the research that most marriages diminish their satisfaction when child number 1 is born.
Wow.
When child number 2 is born, they they tank
Really? Oh,
quickly.
my gosh, that's
and
so
badly
discouraging.
because there's so much.
Yeah.
There's already some, frustration built up.
Yeah.
There's already some things that have been going south.
Right.
And then when number 2 hits, man, it just drives it into the dirt.
Wow.
Frequently.
Right.
You've heard of the 7-year itch.
Right.
And they comment that that's frequently what the situation is going on. They've been married, they've had a couple of kids, and now their marriage has been put on the back burner.
Right.
What I try to tell couples, Steve, is save some time and energy for your spouse.
Yeah.
If they're supposed to be the number one priority in your life, surely you can save a little bit of time, a little bit of energy for that person.
Right.
And you need some time and attention for yourself.
True. Yeah.
So you have to balance that out, appropriately. Don't take on all, 1,600 extra commitments.
Right.
Save some time for them. And it continues, not just when they're little, but it continues as they get older, right?
Right. Yeah.
And parents are, we're involved in soccer, we're involved in basketball, we're involved in, cheerleading and dance and all these kind of things. And I'm like, and you don't have time for each other.
Right.
No, we're too busy.
Right.
Well, then eliminate something.
Right.
Because you should prioritize your marriage first. And if that's healthy, it's going to make everything else better.
Right. That's good. DavidRoper.net. DavidRoper.net. We got a lot more to talk about, but I want to make sure you pick up on that. Again, I want to mention the wisdom that he's just spitting out here. Marriage Masterclass, $29 a month.
Yeah.
$29 a month. That is a steal.
That's pretty crazy.
That is awesome. We'll talk more about that. I want to hear a little bit more about the specifics of that. But can you also, and we've been going for a bit, so if we need to kind of drop it and get back into some of the other things we want to talk about. But one of my favorite comics, like I said, Jeff Allen, happy wife, happy life. Happy wife, happy life. Let me tell you, I've learned one thing in 38 years of marriage. Happy wife, happy, something like that. All right. You got some a hate response from your video on YouTube.
I did. It's my first and only
so far
hate response so far, Steve.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll check the Facebook comments later. Who knows what we've roused up. All right. Tell us about it.
So Steve, I'd made a number of videos on my YouTube channel. It's just David Roper Counseling, and had posted those, and they were getting very few views. Here and there, family, friends, few people here and there checking them out, and they were good information, right? But they didn't have that zinger title
that those algorithms are looking for.
That's right. That's right. It didn't catch people's attention.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, for this next video, I really need to have kind of a zinger title on it. And even though I wasn't crazy about the title, I felt kind of bad about using the language that I did. I thought, okay, I'm going to go for it and see what happens with the algorithm. So I titled it, Happy Wife, Happy Life is Crap. And I thought, okay, let's see what happens here with this one. And I got my first hate mail, which the person commented, "You're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
You're an idiot." And I thought it was interesting because I thought, wait, did she? This whoever it was, did she watch the video?
Right.
Because what I say in the video, Steve, is it's directed to wives.
Yeah.
And it's saying, wives, look, you this is not really good advice, right?
Right.
I know you know this. I know you know that if your husband's only goal in marriage is to try to make you happy, that the whole marriage is all focused on you.
Yeah.
And if you're happy, then everything's good. That's not good advice, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of a funny,
silly
axiom that we throw out there.
Right.
And then I went through the rest of the video, and I'll let people watch it to find out more. But in essence, it's saying, look, the real most fundamental concept that I can give couples, and I do often when I do weddings, like you do as well, officiate weddings and stuff, or pre-marriage counseling. The most key concept, in my opinion, about a healthy marriage, Steve, is selflessness.
Yeah.
I believe that Jesus himself exemplified selflessness to his last breath.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that we are called as husbands to die to the church. I mean, exemplify that, right?
Right.
It says, you know, husbands, love your wife
as Christ loved the church. Yeah, and he laid down his life. Yeah.
There you go.
Whew.
And wives, respect your husband.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
It doesn't say respect him if
Yeah.
A, B, or C, if he speaks your love language, if he validates you, if he does these things. No. Love your wife, respect your husband. Boom. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's all about selflessness.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
He says just do it.
Yeah.
And so in that video, that's kind of what I talked about.
Yeah.
Is, hey, we need to love and support one another. It's a selfless, symbiotic relationship where we're caring for one another. And it's not all about one person. It's about both people.
Right.
Selflessly.
Right.
And happy wife, happy life suggests that it should be a selfish relationship. And I don't want to ever suggest to a wife, you know, hey, it's all about you.
Right.
Because it's not.
Right. Even though the world just seems to say that to men and women, it's all about you. It's all about you.
Right.
Oh, man. No, that's really good. That's really good. All right. Hey, tell us a little bit, if Chris and I were to do marriage masterclass, what does that look like? Tell us about some of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Steve, having done pre-marriage counseling with tons of couples over.
How many are we talking about? Can you throw out even a ballpark?
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Okay.
I mean, I've been doing it for about 20 years now.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of couples.
Yeah.
I've been doing counseling as a LPC for 30 years.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of people.
That's a lot, yeah.
That's a lot of people. And what I noticed was I'm repeating a lot of these same core concepts, selflessness, love languages, personality styles, etc.
Yeah.
I'm repeating a lot of these core understandings and tools and concepts over and over and over again to all these different couples.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, they're paying me a lot of money in an hour session, right, to learn these things.
Yeah.
What if I could spend some of my own time and effort and money
right,
to put them on a video, professionally recorded, professionally edited, and allow couples, whether they're my clients or not my clients, and just want the course, to watch those.
Yeah.
For my couples who I'm seeing in marriage counseling, it's a tremendous cost savings for them to be able to get the course and watch the information ahead of time. And then they come into the session going, okay, so when you were talking about personality styles, I think my husband's this and my wife thinks I'm that, and talk those things through.
Yeah.
When we were talking about love languages, you gave us this homework to do, A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And this is what happened. So we're able to I'm able to teach ahead of time on their own time for $29 a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they're able to use the time in session to dive deeper.
Dang. So this is that reverse teaching sort of thing? Or
yeah, that's reverse teaching.
Okay.
A high school teacher told me that concept. Basically, she was a math teacher and saying, when I teach my kids in class and they go home, Steve, they struggle. They're having a hard time, right?
All right, I get it. Lay off, lady.
She said, I wish it could be the other way around. I wish they would go home to learn and they came to class.
Yeah.
And I could help them when they're there.
Yeah.
And I thought, boom, bingo.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's a great idea in the mental health area.
Right.
That I could do that for my clients.
Right.
And they could come to sessions already aware of
it's perfect.
what I was going to say.
Right.
And then use our time together to nail it.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Okay.
And so couples can also do the marriage masterclass without being a client of mine. Absolutely. Okay. They can just take the course.
You've got your clients that are coming to you. They're doing either in person or Zoom or whatever.
Zoom,
marriage counseling. Some of them may take the masterclass then.
Right.
But also just people – they could just do the masterclass.
People like you and Chris
$29 a month. Yeah,
do the masterclass on your own.
Yeah,
and it's geared that way, Steve, because there's a lot of DIYers. All right, there's a lot of do-it-yourselfers, and that's great. I'm kind of one of those people as well. You know, I like to do what I can. You know, I like to read and learn and figure things out for myself and do it on my own and try to save a buck here and there.
Yeah.
And so, and there's a lot of husbands, right, who are like, I don't want to go to marriage counseling, or I don't want to go to relationship coaching.
That was my next question.
Right. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Great. No problem.
Oh, this is interesting.
Take the marriage masterclass.
Yeah.
And do these things on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the fear for the man or anybody feeling about control is like, what's this guy going to tell me? He's going to side with her and I got to do all this stuff or whatever.
Right.
And instead take the marriage masterclass and it's more of a DIY. And then if they do get stuck, somebody takes it, then they could say, oh, we need to talk to this guy.
Yeah. If you do get stuck,
you
can do a session or 2 or 3, whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I can help you get unstuck.
Yeah.
And you can keep
going down the road. Yeah. That's good. All right. What about a situation where whether husband or wife, I mean, stereotypically thinking the man, but the wife's like, man, we need to work on this marriage. She's aware and everything. And the husband's like, no, we're good. And doesn't want to do it, or
that
doesn't
want
to do it. Yeah. What if one is like, I really want to do this, but my husband, or let's do it the other way, but my wife doesn't want to do it. What do you What do you do with that?
Sure. Super common,
right?
Okay. Yeah. Super common. I can't tell you how many times I get a phone call. Like you said, typically from a wife,
right,
saying, I really want our marriage to be better. How can I convince my husband to come in to marriage counseling? And what I tell them is, I'll often give them some tips depending upon the situation, right? I don't want to get into specifics there, but
right.
But then what I'll say is, but look, if he doesn't want to do it, that doesn't mean you can't.
Right.
And she's like, what are you talking about? It's marriage counseling.
Right. Takes 2.
He has to be there. No, he really doesn't.
Okay.
Steve, I've seen so many couples in which one of them, frequently the wife, will come in and she'll work on herself.
Yeah.
She'll learn about selflessness.
Right.
She'll learn about personality styles.
Right.
She'll learn about love language. She'll learn about intimacy and connection, and she'll learn about communication and all those kind of things, right?
Yeah.
Herself.
Right.
And she'll start doing them.
Praise God. I love it.
With her husband.
Right.
And it doesn't take long before the husband's like, what is going on?
This is better.
What? Yeah, this is way better. Why hasn't it been this way all along?
Right.
And it's just because she didn't know.
Yeah.
Or because there were some things that were keeping her stuck.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And once we clear that out and she's able to, be the person that she was wanting to be all along, then things are better.
Yeah.
And most of the time, Steve,
the
husband then says, I kind of want to talk to this guy. I kind of want to know what is going on.
Yeah.
Like, what is he telling my wife?
Yeah.
And what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I'm frequently, I connect pretty well with husbands as well.
Yeah.
And so I'm frequently able to help him see, hey, man, things could be even better if you jump on board, right, and start rowing with us.
Yeah.
And man, you can have, the relationship you've always kind of desired,
right,
if you play as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, davidroper.net. I'm going to give you a few minutes to just, tell us anything else you would like to share that maybe we didn't cover. But, man, it's exciting. $29 a month for a marriage masterclass. And, man, that's just good. That is good stuff. Real quick, just a little random question before you just kind of follow up with any thoughts you want to share, any social media shout outs of, you're even on TikTok. My goodness.
Tens of followers on TikTok, Steve.
Hey, that's more than me by about 10. That's great. So you're on YouTube and Facebook, TikTok, anywhere else?
Instagram.
Okay.
YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
So David Roper is usually, if they put that in,
David Roper Counseling is
David Roper Counseling is the brand.
All of those.
Okay. All right. Just a little random question. Some people get, including me to some degree, fascinated by like personality sort of things. Do you have a favorite sort of, I know when I was a teenager, my dad was in the military and they had parents and kid take Myers-Briggs, which really for us, especially for my parents, trying to understand how their kid was so different from them,
right?
Understand and everything. So I've always been a fan of Myers-Briggs. I know other things have become really big in the last few years. Do you have like a favorite that you steer people towards, or?
So there's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many. And Myers-Briggs is, a kind of a foundational one, but I love the DISC. There's the core map. There's the Enneagram, is super popular.
Right. Very popular right now.
And they're all really, really good.
Okay.
They're all really, really good.
Right.
I think whichever one, people have already taken, great. I'm happy to play off of that.
Okay.
And understanding, this is kind of key, actually. Yeah. Understanding yourself, Steve, but also understanding who you're married to
absolutely
is critical.
Absolutely. Yeah.
My wife and I, when we got married 32 years ago, didn't understand all that, right? And so suddenly when we were dating, all those things that she did that were totally opposite of me, right? I was fascinated by it. Gosh, she's so organized. She's so this. She's like incredible. And she was fascinated, by me being able to talk to anybody, at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
Right. But fascinating that, fast forward a few years, you know what's coming, right?
Right.
And those same things that we were entranced by in the other person are those things that annoy the heck out of us.
They agitate us.
Right? She's like, can we not go somewhere and you talk to everybody?
Right, yeah.
And it's just because I'm an extreme extrovert. I'm like the 99th percentile
wow, I did not know
extroversion.
That.
And she's like, the bottom 10%.
Wow.
Of that. She needs her
I got a follow-up coming. I mean, I was talking to somebody recently, and it sounded like it was kind of the same model of just except for it was the husband that is very introverted. Yeah. And the wife seems to be very social, if not extroverted.
Right.
What advice do you, in
a
minute or two, what advice do you have? How do you deal with that?
It's critical.
Yeah.
My advice, Steve, is understand who you are and who you're married to. And then this is the key, appreciate those differences.
Okay.
Appreciate those differences.
Okay.
If I appreciate my wife's strengths based on her personality style, and she appreciates those things in me, we're good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you marry a dune buggy because you think it's really cool how rugged they ride, don't get angry that then when you're riding that dune buggy on a highway, it's loud and bumpy.
Yeah.
You married a dune buggy. So appreciate that it's awesome and rugged and, et cetera in the dunes.
Yeah.
And accept that it's going to be a bumpy ride on the highway. That's who you marry.
Yeah.
And you're not going to really change that.
Right.
So appreciate it.
That's good. All right. Anything else you just want to cover that maybe we didn't get a chance to cover?
I mean, we covered A lot. The one thing I would say is, we started all this talking about teenagers.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And I would just say, once again, that moms and dads, whether they're married, or single, they're the foundation. They're the foundation of their family.
Yeah.
And if mom and dad are healthy, mentally healthy, physically healthy, etc., emotionally healthy, everything goes better.
Yeah.
All too often, in my opinion, Steve, we as parents sacrifice.
Yeah.
We sacrifice ourselves.
Right.
We sacrifice our marriage.
Right.
And we pour everything into our kids.
Right.
Which is kind of, it's nice. It's sweet.
Right.
But it isn't always wise.
Right. Oh, that's good.
Right.
Yeah.
We need to have a balance there where I reserve some energy and effort for myself.
Right.
I reserve some energy and effort for my spouse and then the rest to the kids.
That's good.
Right. Because if I'm healthy, if my wife and I are healthy, we're able to support our kids better than if we're wrung out, worn out, wiped out.
Right. That's good. All right. Some of your self-care is some pickleball, huh?
Pickleball, baby. Pickleball.
Man, I played in college, but I haven't picked it back up. But
it's all the rage.
I know. Well, I know. It was great in college, and that was, as you know, a few decades ago.
Just a few.
Just a few. Wow, many decades ago. All right, anything else you just want to throw out there? DavidRoper.net. Social media we talked about, counseling, coaching courses, this $29 a month marriage masterclass, and that pre-marriage course I mentioned, $60, and then you get $60 off your marriage license, so it's for free. And that is what you want to do. You want to get ahead of this now. So, and you might have someone in your life young that's about to get married or just got married or whatever. This would be great for them, even if you're just humming along. I hope you are.
I've had some folks give that as a wedding gift.
That's great.
What a cool thing.
Yeah.
Is pre-marriage counseling for weddings.
That's great.
And pre-engagement is a new deal. We won't get into that.
Okay.
But that's starting to become a thing, Steve, where before couples even get engaged, they're like, hey, maybe we should make sure we're a good match. So that's something I'm inkling towards doing more and more these days.
That's good. All right. Anything else you just want to share, David?
I just want to thank you, Steve, and Very Bold Ministries for
all
that you're doing to help people. There's so many people that tune in and listen to your podcast and your radio show, and you've been doing this for a long time and helping people. So
thanks.
Thank you.
Man, well, I really appreciate that. And like I said, my wife and I are becoming just more and more passionate about helping others with their marriages. And we understand how important counseling is, what a blessing counseling is. So again, I just mentioned, just in case somebody's just like looking for a counselor and I know some other good counselors if you're looking for a female and, all that sort of thing. But managing your anxiety, overcoming your depression, taking charge of your ADHD, and obviously relationships. DavidRoper.net. All right, man. Good stuff, man. That is gold. Don't forget, he's got more videos like that on YouTube that we just kind of touched on, which was a lot of fun. So, man, what an important ministry. Just counseling and marriage ministry, counseling teens, students, however you want to look at it. What an important ministry. What a blessing. Man, that's good stuff.
My pleasure.
I'm gonna hang out when long way away, but when we're in heaven and Jesus is going through just some of the impact that you will have had on earth. I'm going to hang out for that session. Like, oh, dang, that's cool. That's really cool. So I'll tell you what, David is being very bold. And for me and for David, I think I'm pretty comfortable saying, that comes from understanding that we are loved by the Creator who also designed us. He's the one who said it's not good for man to be alone. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he could have followed up with, it's good for a good marriage, and he described it right away. And David touched on it earlier, just flesh of flesh and blood of blood. This is special. And then for the New Testament thing of just saying, man, husbands, you're to love your wife like Jesus loves the church, laying down your life, man, just good stuff. So it really starts for me just with that love from Christ, him forgiving me, the selflessness of Jesus Christ. But that is an example for us. To pick up our cross, to die to my own selfish desires and say, hey, Jesus, how do you want me to love Chris today? How do you want me to serve her today? How do you want me to honor her today? What can I do to bless her? So I just encourage you, again, davidroper.net. If you're just looking for a little bit more, you got an idea of just his wisdom and his passion, for helping you. So reach out to him. And so when you think about the love of Jesus Christ and how much God loves you and wants to help your marriage, then you get to be very bold. So that's why we're Very Bold Radio and Podcast, Very Bold Ministries, Very Bold Scrapping, Very Bold this, Very Bold that, the whole gamut. The Apostle Paul, he said it this way, and we'll sign off with this, 2 Corinthians 3:12. He said, therefore, since we have such a hope, we are very bold.
Very Bold Radio and Podcast with your host, Steve Teel, bringing encouragement through God's Word and through inspiring interviews. Go to verybold.com for information and updates, and email steve@verybold.com.